Are celebrity fights killing the sport of boxing? This will be the topic of discussion for episode number 5 of Sports Table Talk.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Sports Table Talk. Thank you for joining us today. To this topic, we're going to discuss boxing. Joining us today, we have Cam and we have Chris.
What up, papas?
What's going on, fellas?
Good, how are you? Thanks for having me on the podcast.
All right. Once again, guys, thank you for joining the podcast. And going forward, like, follow, subscribe. Let us know what you think in the comments. All right, guys, here's the question for today. With all these celebrity boxing, whether it's YouTubers, TikTokers, and all these guys, getting into boxing, do you feel like it is either slowly or killing the sport of boxing in general? Sam, you go first.
All right. Do I think it's killing boxing? Not necessarily. I want to say probably within the last maybe 5 to 7 years, MMA has probably taken a front seat to boxing. However, boxing has been around for ages. I don't think it'll be going away. The circus shows that have been happening the last couple of years have been a little crazy, to say the least, but I don't believe that boxing is going to be dying out anytime soon.
Okay. Chris?
All right, first off, before I even start this conversation, is this PG-13?
No.
Okay, good. I forgot that. You know what? I totally forgot to ask that question first.
Woo! All right, well, first off, little introduction. I've been involved in boxing for 9 years. I'm bronze level certified Olympian trainer, former competitive fighter, number 3 in New York, all that shit. Point is, I've been doing this shit for a long time, and I have a high respect for boxing. So, with that said, what Sam said was absolutely fucking right. I got to rock with everything except for one thing. And the one thing was, in the beginning of your statement, I believe it was whether it's ruining boxing. That's a touchy subject, because to say it's, oh shit, wait, I don't even know what the fuck. I almost got hit by a car. Okay, I ain't going into it.
Be careful, man, please.
So, is it ruining boxing? Here's the problem. I have a high level of respect for it. I don't give a fuck about boxing. Chris don't give a fuck about it. 9 years in, still don't give a fuck. That's what it is. But I have a high level of respect for boxing because it took a lot of time to get to the skill level that I'm at. I actually know what it's like to hold 2 belts, to be highly sorted after. It takes hard fucking work to bust your ass to get out there and actually do these things. Then you got these clowns on YouTube that just view it as just a fight. Like anybody could do this shit. So you got clowns going in there for 3 months. You got your Nate Robinsons running in there, never sparring properly, getting caught with the same goddamn punch 3 times in a row. That's not normal. That's not sensible here. So is it ruining boxing? Yes, because it's starting to make everybody believe that they can do it. Similar to how the rap game is. So do I think it's ruining? Yes. Will it kill it? Absolutely not. Because like my man said, it's been around for generations and everybody loves a good scrap. So there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Similar to what Sam said, I was thinking that between MMA, like the fact that boxing is not dying. It's not going anywhere. However, there's definitely been like some changes to boxing, over the years. As we're watching, I can say, if you could take away, I'm gonna say the last 10, 15 years, how many great, boxers have we come across? How many great boxers? I mean, you could probably name 5 in terms of okay, let's say heavyweight boxers, for example. How many great heavyweights have we come across in the last 5 years? And not 5 years, 10, 15 years? I would say not many. But then again, I mean, not
what?
As
no.
Great heavyweights.
Okay. I'll put it to you this way. Chris, you want to take this or you want me to go first?
No, go ahead, Papa. Go ahead.
All right. So I'll put it to you this way. Boxing obviously it's a probably known thing that boxing has always been a kind of corrupt sport for years. However, the whole thing is with boxing also is very convoluted in terms of like what needs to be fixed, and I don't think that's ever going to be fixed anytime soon. If you ever take a look at it, you got guys in the heavyweight division now. I mean, Wilder, Fury. Within the last couple of years, you had Joshua. You had the Klitschko brothers that held the belts for
these.
Yeah.
You got
So
right coming up. You got a few guys in there.
yeah. So they had heavyweights have staying power.
Okay.
As compared to the guys in smaller weight classes. However, the thing in boxing also, I always had a problem with, which is why I didn't stick with it for too long, is because there's so many weight classes. So the thing that boxing has against it, I'll probably touch on it later on, but boxing has a bunch of weight classes, has 4 organizations with multiple title holders, so you could have at least up to almost 60 champions in one.
They just came up with another title just recently, Bridgerweight.
Yeah. So in that sense, you got guys sitting there like 4 or 5 weight classes that you can move up 4 or 5 pounds, and then you be in a different weight class.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
okay. All right. That makes sense. So which means so it's not dying, so per se, but I will say that MMA has definitely done a whole lot because of the growing rate of MMA recently. It has definitely gone to the point where it's like, would you rather watch just especially like for people who are like casual fans, they'd rather watch. They're not as focused on watching boxing the same way anymore, unless it's guys like Floyd fighting. And Floyd has basically cracked the code when he realized that, oh yeah, if I fight, it doesn't matter who I fight. I could basically like record me fighting a punching bag. People will still watch it. He's cracked the code on that. And I feel like that's the thing. It's like, but there's plenty of guys who has trained their whole life, who has been fighting for a chance at fight. But then here comes, this guy fighting, who's been fighting for, who makes YouTube videos, who's been fighting for 3.5 months. All of a sudden he's on the big stage, getting a fight. I feel like that's taken away from, like, it's the equivalent of like finding a guys at the park, and all of a sudden, they walk into the league, and Knicks be like, oh yeah, go ahead, jump on and play with us. It sounds ridiculous when you think about it that way, but that's similar. That's what this celebrity boxing has basically been doing to boxing.
Well,
Chris, you want to take this one?
Yeah, I just wanted, because what y'all saying, I love that shit. But there's one thing I want to go into, and that's the psychological perspective of the casual. You got to understand, a lot of people, once again, they don't understand or respect boxing. So they don't put in the necessary, time to actually learn a thing or two. So what happens is, the reason why MMA, one of the reasons, there's a whole bunch of reasons why MMA is great, but there's a reason why it's so easy to watch for casual, because when it comes to stand-up and striking, MMA is very subpar. Very subpar. They're awful. We got MMA guys in my gym all the time. We wash them up in a jiffy. Granted, I would never grapple with any of these niggas, but they suck. The point is, in regards to casual striking, is that anybody could get hit, which means they're prone to see more knockouts. When you're in there with these boxes, unless it's like the beginning stages, it's not likely that you're going to see a lot of knockouts, especially with a guy like Mayweather, who doesn't have the fucking, the angle to knock your ass out unless it comes to him. So a lot of people find Mayweather to be a guy that runs, when in reality he's a technician, pure boxing technician. There aren't many guys like that in MMA, so you're more likely to see some sloppy shit and knockouts, and they don't understand how the knockout is created. They just like the action. So when you compare it to the celebrity boxing, it's literally that equivalent. A bunch of unskilled, untalented, novelty motherfuckers who are just swinging, and you're just waiting for that one punch to land. And that is perfect for a casual.
I mean, like with any sport as compared to like boxing and MMA, everybody wants to see a good knockout.
Right.
So even with that, like me coming from a boxing background, and also I've done a little MMA and Muay Thai. So it's one of those things where, going back to what you said as far as like the psychological part of it, there's a whole half of it that, people say styles make fights, but the other half of this is so do personalities. When you got guys like Mayweather, you got guys who, I I'll be the one to say I've never been a fan of Mayweather's personality, but I definitely respect his boxing. You know, but he knows how to make money, and a lot of his fights, because he knows how to talk, he knows how to market himself, and he knows the psychology of the sport, and he wins effectively. You know, part of that is psychology, and part of that is also his personality.
Sorry to interrupt. Just wanted to remind you, if you haven't done so already, to please subscribe to this channel and also hit the bell notification so you can be notified of future episodes. Also, make sure you like this video, comment your thoughts below, and share this video with your friends and family. Thank you so much. Now back to the episode.
He knows how to make it, you know, and you look at guys, he kind of, I guess his proteges like Adrian Broner, Gervonta Davis, they try to, I saw your face, Chris, you know, they try to emulate that, but it's not the same thing. You know, I'm not saying in terms of style, but personality-wise, you know, you're trying to do the same thing he is, and it's not the same. Yeah, it doesn't transfer.
You gotta earn. You gotta earn. You gotta earn that.
Adrian Broner can't out-talk a guy with a third-grade reading level. What does that tell you about Adrian Broner? Instead of being about billions, you need to be about boxing. That's what the AB should be about. You know, I hate that guy. That guy's an idiot. And Mayweather's an idiot too.
No, but it's not.
Broner's kicking off an idiot. That tells you a lot about Broner. Yeah.
Yeah, but his mouth, you know, his mouth is making the checks. Maybe not necessarily his skill yet, but he's making money because of that.
Okay, but here's the thing.
If we're talking about money, y'all said something great earlier. Sorry, heavyweight boxing is pretty much the cash cow. There it goes. It's the cash cow. Unless you're Mayweather, Pacquiao, or Canelo, you are not making that much. However, Ruiz is making $6 million a fight. Joshua making $15 million a fight. Wilder was making 15. Fury 15. This is big money right here. There's no way. Do you know how much Maidana made off of both fights with Mayweather?
How much?
Take a guess. What would be a sensible one? 2 fights with the man.
Mayweather, I would say he made $5 million between those 2 fights.
6 to 7.
Smart man, $6 million.
$6 million.
Right. Yes.
And that's not including purses.
Doesn't that tell you something about how low the purses are in that shit? So yeah, heavyweight boxing ain't going nowhere. This man fought a fight that generated $150 million and made $5 million off of it. They ain't going no. They ain't making nobody. Heavyweights is where it's at. You know, I just wanted to chime in with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll also tell you that too. Just to jump in real quick, it's one of those things what MMA wants from boxing but doesn't have yet.
Which is
while MMA has that staying power in terms of like being entertaining and entertaining the fans, boxing has the money. And that's what MMA fighters want. So when you got boxing, you got to take a look at it this way. Think about how much money Conor McGregor made off of the Mayweather fight. Boxing, just one match.
Oh, he made more money in that than he did every fight combined in the UFC.
Yeah, but that's my whole point. That's including, and mind you, he was a 2-weight champion.
Yeah.
So the thing, and then I can say that from experience. Like I have a lot of friends who train, who are professional boxers, and who are also MMA fighters. Their pay purses are totally different. Boxing, and then the thing with boxing is because they have they have different weight classes. You have more chances. You have more opportunity. Mm-hmm. You have also, it's one of those things, they bid on your purse.
More drawing power.
Yeah, more drawing power. You make money off of pay-per-views as compared to places like UFC, which is almost a monopoly.
Yeah, and also a lot more bullshit in boxing, as we all know. Like you said, it's corrupt. I agree 100%. There's a lot more bullshit. You don't see the best fighters fighting the best fighters most of the time.
That's exactly true.
UFC is a division. It's its own entity. You know, in boxing, there's no players association. There's no farm club. There's none of that. You know, so it's pretty much I got to make a deal with this guy, make a deal with this guy, and see how it works. Even mandatory fights don't mean anything anymore because they never happen. Charlo was supposed to fight a couple guys a long time ago. Never happened. I think it was supposed to like Canelo at one point. Never happened. You know.
Yeah.
in the UFC, you gotta always have that fight. The fight is there to be made. Israel is the champ, and this guy wants that
You
fight.
have like 2 or 3 people there that you're gonna end up fighting in the top 5.
Yeah, you gotta fight.
It's guaranteed. Yeah,
And
but that's why. Yeah.
No, and you know what? You guys said it in the beginning. The reason why is because it's simple. With box, with UFC, you already know what it is. There's one organization. The organization is, especially like depends on, if you're fighting in the UFC, the organization. The weight classes are very simple. Like, hey, you can fight between this weight class and that weight class, and you can fight. So it's like it's simple. With boxing, you have, you know what? You have to make a deal. You have to make a deal with this organization and that organization and that way. It's like it's so much more convoluted. It's become like you guys said in the beginning. It's a bit more difficult for them to I don't know.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because you got different things. You got Top Rank, you got Golden Boy, of course. Mayweather's his own promotion over there. Bob Arum is tripping all the fucking time, with his money because he's a stickler. It's a lot harder those big time fights. It's a lot harder. So far in between that you lose it. UFC's every month. Every including big time fights that are just for free. They're going to be more popular. They're all over the place. Boxing, not so much. So that's why MMA is kind of like more popular, and also add everything else I said.
Okay. Now, along the same lines. I think I know what your answer is going to be, but I ask the question anyway. Do you think there's more or less of these celebrity boxing on the way? Because it seems
more.
Like
Definitely more.
They missed the boat 25 years ago when they tried to put that shit on Fox, but it had Screech and Todd Bridges.
Yeah.
They missed the boat.
I remember. What was that? I think Canseco was fighting at one point.
Canseco's an idiot. Yeah, the short answer to your question, yes. I absolutely, because there's money to be made. People like watching idiots fight each other, and it's just never going to go anywhere. Go on YouTube. Everybody looks up fights. I look up fights. I used to be on World Star looking for that fight. No, it was once a month. I don't know. Every month looking for that special, that tape.
Now they got backyard fights.
100%. Oh yeah, forgot to mention I do bare knuckles, so on top of that.
Yeah, see you bugging. I ain't doing all that.
With bare knuckle FC. So my first fight hopefully be in September. It was supposed to be yesterday, but I broke my wrist. So, but yeah, there's a lot of traction for the bullshit, and for some reason, celebrities have that star power that you won't see because bare knuckle should be taking off. Everybody love a good bare knuckle fight, right? But it's not.
Yeah.
Right? How many bare knuckle fighters you know?
Not me.
All the ones that gave up on MMA and went to bare knuckle.
Does anybody even know the name of the organization? Like without me even saying it just now?
I most definitely don't know the organization name.
I think it's just called Bare Knuckle Fight League or something.
It's Bare Knuckle FC. It's bare knuckle fighting. That's all. As simple as that, but nobody even knows it, and it's such a great platform. Meanwhile, Lamar Odom and Aaron Carter over here cooking. They have millions.
At this point, speaking of
that should have never happened. That fight, I was telling you that yesterday when you mentioned it to me. I was like, that fight should have never even been sanctioned. They're not even same weight class, nothing. Should have never happened.
At this point, I think Lamar Odom is trying to be the next Dennis Rodman. Like, who decides, I can play basketball, box, I can go into wrestling, I can go to Vegas for hookers, and
Well, he's a wedding dress away. He's a wedding dress away from being Dennis Rodman. A couple more rebounds and a wedding dress, and he might be Dennis Rodman. Maybe he has to meet up with North Korean presidents and shit, but he's on his way.
Yeah, I will say this though. There are. I don't want to take away from people who actually do like boxing, who do appreciate it. Mm-hmm. There are celebrities that actually take time to learn a certain, discipline, not just boxing. But the fact that like we stated before, there's a fanfare to want to see somebody get knocked out, especially if it's somebody we hate seeing.
Yeah,
you want to see that happen, especially with somebody. And then on top of that, you also got to take into consideration that, they have athletes that want to. I kind of respect that because you coming from a different, you're an athlete through and through. I don't care where, I appreciate people who play basketball, come over and do certain stuff and transition into other sports. Like I've had guys who played football for 10, 15 years in the NFL and they come train with us.
That's what Nate Robinson thought.
Well, yeah. See, Nate, there's a certain dedication and discipline that you have to put into it. You just don't come after 3 months of picking up, learning how to fight, and then you want to, get on a pay-per-view
and like at least doing it respectfully for 2 years. Like as much as I hate Logan fucking Paul, he did the craft. He's at least a beginner fighter. I can at least honestly say he is a novice fighter, but he would get washed. Like, put me in the ring with him. I'll beat him with one hand. He can pick the hand. That's
exactly legit. That's like one of those things where it's a glorified sparring session.
Yes, and that's why they hired exhibition, which I don't understand.
He knows that because he knows that's why he's not fighting anybody. The amount of people that's talking about, oh yeah, let's get in the heel ring. He's like, you would kill me. Like he's not gonna say that loud, but he knows. If he fought a boxer, he'd get killed.
No, but if you saw the fight, Mayweather knocked him out and held him up just so he can continue the match. I don't know if you saw that clip or not.
Looked like it. It looked like he got rocked.
He was out. Mayweather held him up.
Mayweather's wanted to get paid. Like you don't get paid the same if you knock him out in the third round.
Nah, because that's not the first. Funny thing is this. Here's the thing with Mayweather. He's not known as a knockout artist. If you ever watch some of his old clips, he can knock people out. Yes. He has that power.
He has 27
However,
knockouts.
it's because it's just one of those things because he has multiple surgeries.
Ability.
Yeah, he has that ability. So if you watch the fight, he knocked Paul out. And then he was out on Queer Street and then held him up until he got his bearings and then kept
you know what though? If he can listen, let's say he was knocking people out left and right. Nobody's watching that fight. Because, for example, nobody's watching. You know why? What fight? That was a Tyson fight. I forgot when it was. The fight is starting. I walked to the kitchen to get to get a drink. I came back out.
Bruce Seldon, Peter McNeely, Frank.
Most of Tyson's fight.
Again, I walked to the kitchen, walked back. Fight was over. I'm like, what the? And I
stopped ordering Tyson fights on cable.
Same thing happened with Wilder. Same thing happened with Wilder for a while.
Yeah,
because it's like every fight was ending, in a round or two. Like, dude,
I think when he fought, what's his name? Stevenson, Stiverne. That's his name.
Yeah, Stiverne.
Yeah, thank you. I can never pronounce that man's name. He got too many weird place V's in his name. I don't know where it is, but
he's a Haitian cat too.
And they went the full distance. It was the first fight he ever went the full distance, and after that, of course, he dropped him in the first round. But after that, I noticed that people started making it past that, started going past the first round. It's been a while since he had like a first round knockout. Actually, I think that was his last time Wilder had that moment.
Because people started figuring him out.
Yeah, he's a brawler.
And people like Wilder, they still paid for the fights.
But think about it this way. If Wilder fights, if you fought Wilder in each one was going 10 to 12 rounds, more people would know. I feel like more people would watch because especially because at the point of he is now.
Nah, nobody's gonna watch that.
I don't know about that because then what's the explanation for people looking for knockouts and such things such as UFC or which is a 3-round fight on you, or even the celebrity boxing things because they're uncoordinated. They aren't.
Yeah, that's why they make them like 10 rounds, 2 minutes each.
You're looking for that the first minute, casual fan,
That's true.
I'm expecting.
I mean, if you know people who are experienced in the fight game, like Chris or myself or something like that, like, and you've been around fighters, you've done it yourself, and you watch fights, there's certain appreciation you can see people going 12 rounds with and enjoy it.
Sorry to interrupt again, but just wanted to remind you, if you haven't done so earlier, to please subscribe to this channel and also hit the bell notification to be notified of future episodes. Also, make sure you like the video, comment your thoughts below, and share this with your friends and family. I'm just trying to help this page grow, so your support is greatly appreciated. Now back to the episode.
You know that, but there are very few boxers like that. You know,
That's true.
but you know, if you're a boxing purist or like a purist of any sport in a certain discipline, you can sit there and watch the science of it and enjoy it, as compared to, like you said, a casual fan who just wants to see a knockout in like the next 2 or 3 minutes of, you know, of what's going on.
I fall under the casual fan part because anything past 6 rounds, I'm like, all right, somebody needs to knock somebody out already. Like 6 rounds is my max. 8 rounds, I'll take it, but anything past that, I'm like, okay, somebody needs to swing and break somebody's jaw and get over it.
But all right, so
like a Mickey Ward and Gotti situation.
Yeah,
like that was a
that went the distance.
Round straight up. You know.
Yeah.
You ever see that?
That fight?
I don't think I saw that fight.
Dude, they went to the hospital. They took each other to the hospital. They were pissing blood right after.
See,
you gotta go watch on YouTube.
See. That's what I want to see.
Like,
I want to see
they got a couple. You have guys like that. You had I always enjoyed the Marquez and Pacquiao fights. They fought multiple times to a distance.
Morales.
But yeah. Okay, all right. This is the last question. Going forward now, who do you see, whether it's in any different any division, any class, whatever, who do you see as becoming like the next best thing or the next big thing?
Me first.
Yeah, go ahead.
You go first, and then Sam.
Okay, so I mean, if Canelo isn't already, because Canelo is that guy. It was Canelo after Mayweather, but Canelo is getting older. So if we're talking about like the next generation, to be quite honest, nobody is really, okay, I got it. Errol Spence. Spence.
I agree.
Errol Spence. That's the next guy after Canelo. Canelo is the cash cow now. Like, by far, by a lot. Good luck. Anything heavyweight, that's just a given. They just make the money. But anything before that, got to be Canelo and then Errol Spence, and everybody waiting for that Crawford.
Where does Triple G falls? In the category for you.
He's on his way out.
Yeah,
he's on his way out,
and I love him.
He's one of my favorite ones. Lomachenko is one of my favorite boxers to watch, but I think he's on his way out also. If he doesn't recover from his surgery properly. So, but he's one of my favorites to watch.
Like Teofimo might cook a little bit, but I don't see him getting anywhere close to Errol Spence. Errol Spence will make He could clear $6 million for one fight.
Okay. Yeah. If he fights Pacquiao, that would be his biggest payday.
Oh, he's making it. Got to be making $12 million off that. 100%. Yeah, you know what? It's Errol Spence. No. I got to stop here. So it's no if.
Errol Spence. Okay.
Yeah. Now Errol Spence is up there. As far as prospects, I mean, Shakur Stevenson fought yesterday. He looked pretty good. I don't know if you saw that fight.
Which one?
The Shakur Stevenson.
Oh, so we're counting Shakur Stevenson as a prospect?
I mean,
Shakur Stevenson number one. I love Shakur Stevenson. I've seen him personally. Yeah. He is phenomenal. He is phenomenal. My favorite among all the new cats. That includes Devin Haney's. That includes the Gervonta Davis's. That includes the Ryan Garcias, Caleb Plants. I'm not including Garcia, and Gervonta Davis has to fight somebody like respectable. Love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Gervonta Davis has knockout power, but he has to fight somebody respectable for me.
That's in his weight class, because he did fight Santa Cruz, phenomenal, but he was 2 classes down. So,
exactly. So that's a given.
Sounds like
the Charlo brothers.
It sounds like okay. So, final thoughts in terms of boxing. Going forward as a general, as a whole. Final thoughts on just like the sport itself. Where where do you see it going, and do you feel like, because I don't know when boxing was at its peak, when did it hit its peak? Because again, I could think of a couple of guys, but if you had to say going forward, do you like in terms of the sport of boxing, where do you see it going forward? Being that with sports like MMA being out there trying basically catch up, where do you see boxing going forward? Going forward in the next 5-10 years, going forward. Where do you see it going? Like
Chris, you want to go first?
Oh, I'll go. I got it. Because my phone might actually die soon, so I better go first. So it's not going to change too much. It hasn't changed that long. It's not going to change that. Boxing is a very niche fan base. Okay, we have our own fans. MMA has their own fans. Lead into one another because it's combat sports, but they're very niche fan bases, man. Who watches boxing are people that watch boxing, and there will always be that. They're always going to be casual fans looking for the fight. That's what they do. So in 5 to 10 years, you're not going to see that much of a difference. You're going to see hungry guys building up. You're going to see guys like Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo being in the limelight eventually. Is the money going to be there? More than likely, no. I will say that at the very least. But there is something to be done. These guys, the big name guys, they're going to have mansions. That's not going to change. It's all going to be the same in that regard. It's going to be more popular, but it will be more bastardized. That's the one thing I will say. You will find plenty more people looking at boxing lightly, like it's just some shit that anybody could do. And it really is. It's the same traditional practices that you have to do, but because of the social media shit, everybody think they're fucking Mayweather. And yeah, I couldn't tell you how many idiots walk into my gym and ask, "Yo, I want to learn the Mayweather style." And I look at them like, "Oh, how about you learn how to box first?" You know, like,
nah, you'd be surprised. And then when they use it, they don't know how to use it properly. I used to hate sparring people who do that automatically. I'm like, yo, just put your hands up and block the punch.
I love that it does that because I know I'm good at it. I'll fuck you up. Like, how dare you put your you don't even bring your shoulder up like this. You
not even.
On down. You stupid.
No, the worst one is watching people do the Mayweather during a Muay Thai sparring session. Okay, that's fun.
I mean, I did Muay Thai for a year. That's embarrassing.
Yeah. Okay. I've seen people do that and catch kicks. So.
All right, Sam. How about you? Where do you see it going? You know, next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, much like Chris said, I don't see it changing too much. Like I said, boxing has been around for years. What happened?
I'm on 1%, so if it cuts off, you know why.
All right.
Go ahead, finish.
Yeah, like I said, boxing's been around for years. It's not going anywhere. It has staying power. Like I stated before, it's just one of those things, especially like for somebody like me who comes from a different fighting background. Mm-hmm. Boxing is the basis for anything. MMA, Muay Thai, certain shit. So if you know how to do that, boxing is not going anywhere. Like you can't get rid of that. As far as like he said, people thinking they're Mayweathers, looking to be the next Tyson and all that stuff. That's gonna be probably the main thing that keeps boxing interesting to say, because that's what's gonna generate revenue as far as from a business standpoint.
Okay.
As far as generating interest from the casual fans, that's probably what's going to end up keeping boxing a lot more interesting. Do I agree with it? Yeah. Do I agree with it? Nah. But that's kind of where it's going. It's just one of those things that money talks. Money makes the business, and for a lot of boxes, like I said before, it's just it's a lot more opportunity.
Okay.
As compared to like a Joe Schmo coming in. So
yeah, no, I could agree with you guys. I don't see boxing necessarily going anywhere, but I do think that between all these guys, all this celebrity boxing, coming around, I feel like it's gonna. I feel like it's actually on its way up, because with all these guys trying to fight and stuff like that, more people are gonna try it. More people are gonna want to come out the woodworks thinking they fighters because they watch a couple of they watch a bunch of fights, and then they went to the gym 2 times. I feel like it's I feel like the only way to go from here is up for boxing, because everybody is gonna think they could do it now. All right, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys joining, and let us know what you guys think in the comments. What do you think? What do you see boxing going from here? Do you think these celebrity boxing is hurting or helping the sport of boxing going forward? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for joining me. Thank you to Sam. Thank you to Chris. Until next time, guys. Peace.